Hi, I am Lindani Myeza, Senior Lecturer in the School of Accountancy within the Auditing Division. In this podcast, I'll be discussing positive lessons that businesses can learn from the COVID-19 responses. The outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic has unleashed a global health crisis that has challenged and changed how societies view businesses as value-adding institutions. Governments all over the world have imposed restrictions over certain businesses, sectors, and industries. And this has forced many to have robust discussions about the value or the perceived value placed on certain businesses, sectors, and industries. This has intensified the questions about the social utility of businesses. A case in point is the South African government imposed a ban on the sale of cigarettes and alcohol, as these goods were perceived to be detrimental to the population's health. The producers and consumers alike have argued against the ban on the basis of the value they have on the economy as an employer of millions of unskilled and semi-skilled population, and the value of tax contributions it makes to the fiscus. This has made many to revisit their understanding of what constitutes a valuable business. Such deliberations have forced those within and outside the business environment to think not only about the financial sustainability of businesses, but also the value it has to society. The pandemic has made many deliberate on questions of what makes a business valuable. Is it the employment opportunities it can create, the profit it is able to generate for the shareholders, the value of the taxes it pays to the fiscus, the impact that it has on the environment and the society at large? Any of these are important to each one of us in a different way, which indicates that the importance of integrated thinking when an entity's business model is being constructed. The most valuable businesses will be those that are able to strategically integrate all these different value propositions into their business model. The pandemic will pass, and it will most likely leave the society with a different world. Different business models are likely to emerge. Different value propositions for businesses will emerge as well. Most importantly, this pandemic will leave businesses with many lessons. Governments around the world have instituted lockdown measures, which were meant to give them time to make necessary preparation and responses for the unknown. Businesses should also use this time to prepare for changes that they are most likely to experience after this lockdown. This pandemic has challenged the speed at which decisions must be made and has highlighted the importance of making timely decisions that are led by evidence with a balance on the economy and on the health. Business leaders can take valuable lessons from this, as it is likely to be the new norm in business in a competitive, fast-moving economy. This pandemic has also highlighted the importance of innovation, collaboration, adaptability, compliance, monitoring, and social responsibility. The new business environment that is emerging demands that businesses seek to identify opportunities even in the midst of uncertain environment. Innovation will be the order of the day for businesses who want to create sustained value for stakeholders. Innovative ideas do not necessarily need to be groundbreaking. Something as simple as identifying that the product offering might need to be changed, or the product offering might need to be redirected to a different market to align with the new demands, are some of the things that business leaders will need to consider and implement without delay. Innovation is going to demand that businesses embrace the changing environment while keeping to their core values. This pandemic has reminded businesses of the importance of collaboration, which is demanded by these changing business environments for sustained value for the stakeholders. Businesses will need to embrace collaboration with government, non-government organizations, and society at large. Collaboration will not be easy in an increasingly competitive environment. Specific risks and opportunities to collaboration will need to be understood and managed. In times of crisis, it is important to identify opportunities for growth through working with others with a view of learning and empowering each other. The environment is demanding of continuous learning and researching better ways to do business to generate sustained value for stakeholders. This will demand that business leaders continuously explore efficient ways to do business, and the key to this is to understand the data that the business has and to analyze this data effectively for decision making. Another key feature of this pandemic has been the emphasis on compliance with laws and regulation. For an example, health and safety laws has been debated about, with many asserting that have businesses complied before the pandemic, the negative effect would have been minimal, which is of course debatable. Businesses will need to demonstrate commitments to compliance, as we have seen that businesses that were non-compliant with lockdown regulations, for an example, were exposed, and such negative exposure can have lasting impact on the sustainability of their value proposition. The emphasis is that businesses should not be seen to be complying, but they should comply. The other feature of this pandemic that is linked to compliance is the increase in monitoring and surveillance on compliance. The government has had to increase monitoring of compliance, and there were instances where businesses and people were punished if they were seen to be non-compliant. Business leaders will need to take lessons from this and demonstrate commitments to effective monitoring of compliance, and there must be consequences when instances of non-compliance have been identified. Business leaders will need to relook, redesign their monitoring controls, and enforce visible and impactful consequence management in instances when non-compliance has been identified. Summary of the lessons that businesses can learn from the COVID-19 responses is that change must be embraced. Timely decisions need to be made, and they need to be led by evidence. Social environmental impacts must be considered and monitored when making decisions. Businesses need to understand the changing needs of their stakeholders and respond to these timelessly. Innovation and the use of technology must be embraced in the business environment. Value can be generated from strategic collaborations. However, these collaborations need to be managed as well. Adaptability of businesses is important in this changing environment. Compliance and monitoring of this compliance is important. And lastly, and most importantly, Businesses need to understand that they have a responsibility beyond their shareholders. Therefore, they have a responsibility to a larger body of stakeholders. Thank you for watching this podcast. Please send any queries or comments to Lindani Myeza on this email. Thank you.